The hype for quantum computers has grown exponentially over the last decade. Companies like IBM, Google, Microsoft are racing to reach quantum supremacy. Quantum computers are theorized to work much faster than the classical computers. It can solve things which classical computers can't. For example, quantum computers can easily break encryption that we use today. It can also help us in simulating the protein structures and hence helping in drug development. Apart from these, quantum computers can also solve mathematical problems which scientists are trying to solve for many years. But to know how quantum computers work and why are they superior, we have to know the basics. The computers we use today use bits to operate, which are combinations of zeros and ones. Computer chips contain transistors which simply work as switches. They control the unidirectional flow of electrons. Combination of several bits are used to represent more complex information. But quantum computers exploit the quantum mechanics for information processing. According to quantum mechanics, a particle can be in multiple states simultaneously. This is known as superposition. The computer units which use this property and other quantum phenomena for information processing are known as quantum bits or qubits. Unlike normal bits, qubits can be both 0 and 1 at the same time or even anything in between. It should be kept in mind that a qubit in this superposition state does not have a value in between 0 and 1. Rather, when measured, the qubit has a probability of the value 0 and a probability of the value 1. In other words, superposition means that there is no way, even in principle, to tell which of the two possible states forming the superposition state actually pertains. But how does this help in quantum computing? Let us think of 4 classical bits. In normal computers, 4 bits has 2 to the power of 4 or 16 combinations, out of which only one can be used at a time. However, for qubits in superposition states, all 16 possible values can be used. This grows exponentially, and even 20 qubits store almost a million values in parallel. It means n number of qubits can store information equivalent to 2 to the power of n number of classical bits, which is a huge difference. Another weird and unintuitive property of qubits is entanglement. Quantum entanglement is the correlation between two or more particles even when they are far apart. For two entangled particles, knowing the state of one particle immediately gives information about the other one. Quantum computers are made of many entangled qubits. Knowing properties of one qubit gives instantaneously information about the others. Unlike normal bits, a qubit can be any two-level quantum system such as spin or a magnetic field or a single photon. 0 and 1 are its two possible states. For example, a single photon has two types of polarization, vertical and horizontal. Here vertical component represents 1 and horizontal component is 0. The photon can be in any of these two states or it can be any proportion of these two states at once. Another type of qubit is spin type. The most popular spin method uses single electron within silicon to create qubits. These are called quantum dots. Being only several nanometers in size, they can operate at slightly higher temperature, which makes them more stable. The two spin states of electron are controlled by applying voltage to entangle them. Right now, the entanglement can be maintained for few nanoseconds only, but scientists hope to increase its efficiency. But to make a computer capable of carrying out instructions, something known as gates are required. Where normal computers use logic gates to perform tasks, quantum computers use quantum gates made of qubits. A quantum gate takes an input of superpositions, performs unitary operations like rotation, and produces an output which is itself in superposition state. So in a nutshell, quantum computers set up some qubits, apply quantum gates to entangle them, and manipulate probabilities and finally measure the outcome, and by collapsing the superpositions, an actual sequence of ones and zeros is produced. What this means is that we get the entire lot of calculations all done at the same time. Ultimately, we get one result which we might have to double check, but by cleverly exploiting the entanglement and superposition, this can be exponentially more efficient than normal computers. It can be pictured like this. If a classical computer tries to solve a maze by trying each path one at a time, a quantum computer solves the maze by trying all the paths at once. But dealing with qubits is not so easy. As the number of qubits increases, it becomes harder and harder to keep them entangled. This creates big problem because in order to produce big quantum computers, the number of qubits also needs to be increased. Another obstacle is keeping the entanglement intact. Any sort of electric or magnetic interference can affect the qubits. As a result, the entanglement is broken. To keep qubits working, they need to be superconducting and free from all kinds of outside interferences. For this reason, they are kept in supercooled chambers and the temperature is near absolute zero. But exactly in what quantum computers are good at, as we know till now, is that quantum computers are good when the input and output are small while having vast array of possibilities, like modeling complex molecules like proteins. Here the input is the number of particles at the starting stage and output is what happens after a given time. The possibilities of what happens in between the interval are almost infinite. Another thing is breaking encryption. In 1994, American mathematician Peter Shor of Bell Labs found a theoretical way to use quantum computers to break codes that relies on the factorization of large numbers into primes. This might not sound much important at first, but many online security systems from banking to encryption rely on the principle that is currently almost impossible to take a very large number and find out what the prime factors are. It would take many years to solve this for classical computers as the number of steps increases exponentially. But using algorithm by Peter Shor, known as Shor's algorithm, quantum computers can do that in hours. There are other real-world problems, from weather patterns to climate change to boosting artificial intelligence training, from looking at patterns and stock market data or in recordings of brain activity, and not to mention gene analysis and drug delivery. Quantum supremacy is the goal of demonstrating that a programmable quantum device can solve a problem that no classical computer is able to solve. The term was originally popularized by John Preskill, but the concept of a quantum computational advantage, especially for simulating quantum systems, dates back to Yuri Menin's and Richard Feynman's proposals of quantum computing. Today, companies like Google, IBM, Microsoft, Intel are trying to reach quantum supremacy. In October 2019, Google claimed that they had achieved quantum supremacy by using their 54-qubit processor named Sycamore, of which one qubit was not working. They further claimed that the quantum computer solved the problem in 200 seconds, which would take 10,000 years for the fastest computer on Earth. Naturally, it created a controversy. IBM claimed that Google's estimation is wrong and they showed that it would take 2.5 days and not 10,000 years for the fastest supercomputer to solve that particular problem. Despite the controversy, this is a milestone indeed. But there's a lot of challenges to face to make a fully functional quantum computer. Another important fact about quantum computers is that it cannot replace classical computers in day-to-day life, because they do not work any better in daily works like browsing the internet, watching videos, etc. So we are not going to see quantum computers anytime soon, as they might be decades away from us. But one day we will certainly get there. Who knows what is possible? Thank you for watching. Please like and share this video, and to see such videos in future, do subscribe.